We're here to protect you and the ones that you love. It's a good feeling to know that our efforts aren't going unnoticed.
It actually brought tears to my eyes to know that we have this support.
You're welcome. I must just say, you're welcome. It's stressful, but we're not going anywhere.
Welcome to another edition of Bucknell Volleyball Through the Decades. Today we have the decade of the 2000s. We've got some great guests lined up for you, along with head coach Tyler Hagstrom and one of our current student athletes on the volleyball team, Victoria Satani. We are excited. I'm going to take a second to introduce them. My name is Todd Newcomb, and I want to thank our sponsor, Geisinger, for all that they have done for our community, for our student athletes, and for everybody during the pandemic. They have been absolutely firsthand and great on the front lines, and we thank Geisinger for all they do for Bucknell. As I mentioned, it's the decade of the 2000s, and our first guest today is from the class of 2004, Brandi Trapasso. Brandi was a team captain in 2003. She holds the school career record with 1,588 digs and ranks 4th with 131 career aces. She was an All-Patriot League second-team selection in 2002 and an All-Patriot League first-team selection in 2003. In addition, she was the Patriot League Rookie of the Year and the Defensive Player of the Year in 2000. She was a COSIDA Academic All-District second-team selection in both 2000 and 2001, and Brandi received the Bison Club Award at the Senior Awards Dinner. Our next guest from the class of 2005 is Jackie Leahy. Jackie was the team captain in both 2003 and 2004. Her 413 kills in 2003 still ranks 3rd on the all-time single-season chart. She ranks 4th in career kills with 1,194. Jackie was an All-Patriot League first-team selection in both 2003 and 2004, and she received the Edward W. Pangburn Award at the Senior Awards Dinner. Next up is Chelsea Anderson from the class of 2006. She was a team captain in 2005. She ranks 3rd on the career digs chart with 1,210. She was an All-Patriot League second-team selection in 2003 and an All-Patriot League first-team selection in 2005. And rounding out our alumni group is Shannon Pitsch from the class of 2009. Shannon was a team captain in both 2007 and 2008. She holds the school single-season record with 1,199 assists in 2006. She holds the school career record with 3,597 assists and ranks 3rd with 136 aces. She was an All-Patriot League second-team selection in 2008. She was the Patriot League on the Patriot League All-Tournament team in both 2006 and 2008, and she was a COSIDA Academic All-District second-team selection in 2007 and a first-team selection in 2008. So, Coach, you got a great group. I'm going to turn the call over to you, and you can have some fun and ask some great questions.
Brandi, if you could just start off, can you give us a little bit of an update on your personal life and what you're up to these days?
Sure. So I married my husband, Brian, in 2011. So we just celebrated our 9-year wedding anniversary. I have 2 boys. One just turned 7 in August. And his name's Brooks. And then my younger son, Brady, will be 5 at the end of October. And so when I graduated from Bucknell, I got my teaching job right out of school, which was pretty cool. So I teach high school math, which I know everyone thinks is boring. And I also am the varsity girls volleyball coach since 2006. So that's been great.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Jacqueline, if you could answer the same question, that'd be great.
Sure. So I've been living in New York City since graduation and working in fashion. I currently work for a men's luxury brand called Xenia, and I run their digital site. And I got married a little over a year ago, and I'm expecting a baby girl in about 3 weeks. So hopefully we'll have a new Bison volleyball player in about 18 years. So, so very pregnant right now, but all is well. And we still live in New York, and that's about it.
Okay, awesome. Shannon?
Yeah, after graduating from Bucknell, I moved to DC to go to law school at George Washington, and then currently I live in the other Washington. I live in Seattle on the West Coast, and I'm in-house counsel at Zillow Group, the real estate and technology company, and I do all corporate and securities work. I live here with my husband, who is also a Bucknell alum. I met him my junior year, and that's about it.
Okay, awesome. And Chelsea?
Yeah, I've been married for 4 years, married one of my high school sweethearts, and we have 2 kids, a daughter and a son, a 2.5-year-old and a 10-month-old. I lived in New York for about 8 years. I've actually been with the same company since graduation. So for 14 years, moved to LA 6 years ago, and run the West Coast office for our company. So I do experiential marketing, event production for a company called Relevant. And just recently, actually a couple months ago, I moved to San Diego, so back in my hometown, and basically picking up and moving my office here.
Okay, awesome. Thank you all for providing some updates. And I guess next question, Chelsea, if you want to take this, take us back to the beginning of your recruitment, how you ended up at Bucknell.
Yeah, so I'm a Californian, grew up in San Diego. So coach at the time, Coach Jankowski, was out at one of, I believe it was an LA tournament that I was at. So she approached me basically and talked about coming out and telling me a little bit more about Bucknell. I was kind of in the middle of figuring out exactly where I wanted to go. I knew I wanted to go on the East Coast. I knew I wanted a school that had a good mix of academics, D1 competitive volleyball, and also a place where it had a good social life. So kind of be able to kind of have the whole package. So I went on a recruiting trip, and Jackie was actually my host. So she did a great job, clearly. And her and the other girls, they sold me on it, and I watched a couple of the games and had a great recruiting trip experience. And that kind of is truly, obviously the campus is beautiful, the environment, met a handful of great student athletes and, other students at the time. And that was it.
Okay, awesome. Shannon, same question.
Yeah, so I grew up in Chicago, and similar to Chelsea, knew that I wanted to go to the East Coast, and also knew that I wanted to go to a school where I could compete at a pretty high level on the court, but then also acknowledging that I probably wasn't going to go professional in volleyball, that I could, be able to go to a university that would provide me with a great starting point for success in my career. And so I mostly narrowed my focus to the Patriot League and the Ivy League and visited a bunch of the schools. But I just really loved the team at Bucknell, loved the coaches, loved that they were a great team at the time, and knew that, they could provide me with a lot of opportunities. So it was an easy sell for me.
Okay, awesome. Jackie?
So my brother actually went to Bucknell. He was 2 years older, and it was probably the only school I did not want to go to, because who wants to go to college with their older brother? But I would come down a lot and visit, for Parents Weekend and just different events. And I would come and watch the volleyball team. And I just really loved the dynamic of the team. It was competitive, but to what Shannon was saying, it was still a college with a great, where I can get a great education. So my club coach kind of reached out to Coach Jankowski, and she came and watched me play. And I ended up going early decision and kind of never looked back. So it was the best decision I made.
Okay, awesome. Brandi?
So actually, the Bucknell track coach actually called me. I remember getting the call like in my room on my old school phone. And I was like, well, I mean, as much as I love track, I do it to like stay in shape for volleyball. And he's like, well, I can get you in touch with the volleyball coach. So when I talked to Coach Jankowski, she came out and watched some of mine, and my twin sister was there too. We watched some of our matches, and we actually were getting recruited by Navy, so we had to kind of choose between Navy and Bucknell. And once we visited both schools, I mean, they were both amazing, but Bucknell was definitely the fit for us. And I'm really happy the coach wanted me for volleyball as much as, like I said, I liked track. Volleyball was what I wanted, so it was a really good fit for us, and the rest is history, I guess.
All right, great. Victoria, if you want to jump in and ask a question.
Yes. So, Chelsea, what advice could you give me or any other member of the Bucknell volleyball on the Bucknell Volleyball College experience?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, you know, as I mentioned, Bucknell gives you kind of the whole package, you know, and you're able to be super competitive with your teammates on the court. We had a blast off the court, which I think is very important to kind of have that balance. You know, and so I would say kind of taking all of that and using it to your best ability, and honestly just being able to really get the good academics, be competitive on the court, and also have fun. Work hard, play hard is kind of my motto. I mean, I do that now, even as a parent, and also, you know, as a managing director of a company, still get to the beach and play beach volleyball, which is what I grew up doing. So kind of just taking it all and doing what you can. It's honestly the full 4 best years of your life. I know that sounds super cliche to say, but it is. So, you know, just kind of take every day to its fullest.
Awesome, thank you.
You can ask them all the same question.
Is it my turn?
Yes, they all get to answer the same question for you.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Shannon, sorry.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
your turn.
sure. Yeah, I mean, obviously the current environment is one that no one could have predicted, and I'm sure is creating tons of challenges for you and your teammates, both on the court and off the court. And I don't have a ton of advice to offer on that front, other than, you know, I know that it will get better, and you just have to be optimistic and positive and believe that it will get better. You will get back on the court, and to enjoy the time that you have with your teammates right now in whatever capacity that is, and to keep working hard both in the classroom and in whatever way you're able to, because, you know, at a certain point you'll be able to get back on the court, and you want to be able to perform at a high level at that point. But then, you know, in terms of like overall college experience, I would echo what Chelsea said. I mean, I think it's an amazing experience at Bucknell, and you only have 4 years, so make the most of it. Say yes, you know, take opportunities that are given to you, and really develop the relationships that you have with the people that are there, because they're going to be lifelong friends and connections, and it's just a really special time in life, so you should enjoy it as much as you possibly can.
Thank you. Jacqueline?
Yeah, you can call me Jackie. Yeah, similar to what Shannon and Chelsea said. Really just enjoy every second of it. It goes by really fast, and you're going to make your lifelong friends. I mean, Chelsea was the maid of honor at my wedding. You know, a lot of my teammates were there for my class. So, you know, it goes by so fast, and next thing you know, you're 15 years out of college, and it's just so crazy. So, just, you know, try to enjoy as much as you can, you know, be competitive on the court, but also, you know, have that balance, have that social life, you know, get a great education, because those are the things that are going to be really important down the road.
Thank you.
Okay, so I probably just gonna repeat everyone, but I guess just you guys have been preparing for this your whole lives. I mean, you've been playing volleyball since probably single digit ages, and you know, you've been able to balance playing volleyball, sports, your social life. So Bucknell is pretty much the same. Obviously the competitiveness is more, and then the classroom's a little bit more rigorous, but as long as you've been keeping that balance your whole life, that's really doesn't change much. At least I didn't feel like it did for me at Bucknell. But just know that if you want to be competitive, you just got to work really hard during the fall, and some balance may have to be more towards volleyball or the classroom, and then the social part might have to be later on as the season ends. But overall, you're going to have a great time, and definitely enjoy it as much as you can.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
All right, so Shannon, we're gonna get into it a little bit more. If you can tell us how you matured as a player on the court from day one of fall camp until your senior season.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I was lucky to play for a really great club program that gave me a lot of the kind of technical skills that I needed to succeed on the court at Bucknell. But what I really found in college was the ability to grow and get stronger physically and mentally. And I think that was the biggest change that I saw from the beginning of my freshman year through my senior year, is that thanks to the strength and conditioning coaches and the programming that they put together, I was able to get a lot stronger, a lot faster, and that enabled me to be better on the court. The matches were longer for us in college than they were in clubs, so that was important to build that base and endurance. And then mentally, you know, as a captain of the team, I was able to develop a lot of great leadership skills and communication skills. And I think all of those just sort of made me stronger from where I started as a freshman.
Okay, great. Jackie?
I think the biggest change was confidence, you know, moving from freshman to senior year. You know, you come in as a freshman and you know, you've seen all these girls play, and it's definitely a little nerve-wracking. So I think, you know, just gaining that confidence, the more mature you are, and, you know, the more games you have under your belt, you know, the better you are. So I think that's where I probably saw the biggest difference, is just knowing, you know, that I can do it and I can compete against the rest of the Patriot League and be a leader on the team.
Brandi?
I just remember my freshman year. I mean, volleyball was like, I just did it all the time. So, I mean, walking in and playing at Bucknell, it just was like another day for me. But I remember like not wanting to screw up ever, especially when I was given the chance to have a starting position pretty early on. I was like, okay, just don't mess up and just like get the next point. And I think I was always worried about that. And as the years went on, even the season went on my freshman year, it became more about the team and not harping on the previous play. And I had to work on that my whole life, I think, growing up as a volleyball player. So I think by senior year, like Jackie was saying, the leadership and the confidence came in, and I was able to bring our team together through example and not so much like, oh, did I just mess that up again? Like, I just felt like I was just a little bit more confident, and I wasn't as worried about my teammates, like wondering how I was doing. So.
All right, great. And Chelsea?
Yeah, I mean, kind of what Brandi was saying is, yeah, I'm a perfectionist and I'm super competitive. So, you know, I feel like you go through high school, you know, and you're the senior and, you know, on the team and captain, and then you go back to being a freshman when you go to college. And for me, obviously, I went to college across the country. So there was the culture shock from going to San Diego to Central PA. And, you know, it's kind of finding your groove. And I was very fortunate that Librero actually started as a position when I was a freshman. So, you know, I was able to kind of jump into that role. You know, but kind of to echo all the girls' comments, it's getting confidence. It's kind of finding your groove with the, you know, coming in as a freshman and, you know, working and kind of seeing everyone's dynamic. Obviously working with the new coach as well. I think strength and conditioning had a big part of it, because it's the first time that you're, you know, at least for me, I was, you know, had a routine. You know, you do 2-a-days, 3-a-days at points. And also just the camaraderie. You're around these people 24/7, basically. You know, you're eating lunch with them, you're eating dinner, you're in the, you know, the cafeteria with them. And I think that kind of immediate family environment was something that I enjoyed, especially because my family was pretty far. You know, and that's something that I held on to throughout the years. And, you know, you just get, once you kind of get older, you then get these other, you know, the newbies that come in and you bring them under your wing. And, you know, I think that was kind of a huge part of it as well.
All right, great. All right. Chelsea, we'll continue with you. If there was one thing that you could go back and do differently, either on the court or in the classroom, what would it be?
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone would kind of agree with this. I would want to, and Jack, I'm sure you definitely, because I know we talked earlier that we would want to figure out a way to beat American, because that's something that we were striving to do at least every year that I was there. And, you know, I'm sure everyone can agree, but that would probably be one thing I would go back. And I mean, we tried hard, but it was, we were almost there. But it was something that we definitely couldn't do, at least my time there.
Yes, it seems the trend continues, so we'll have to figure something out for you and see what we can do. Jackie?
As Chelsea was saying, we were talking about this earlier, and I think that's definitely the sentiment we both kind of came up with. Brandi, fortunately for her, had the luxury of 1 year with no Americans, so I'm very jealous. But I had all 4 years of them, and we tried, and we made it to the finals and still couldn't beat them. But it was always a lot of fun, and we were always competitive. But that would be definitely the thing that I would change.
Shannon?
Yeah, I'll plus one on that. I mean, I'm extremely competitive, and if I could have won a Patriot League championship, that's really the only thing that I didn't get to do at my time at Bucknell. And American Army, there were a couple reasons. We got really close a couple times, but we didn't quite get there. So,
Brandi?
So, I mean, obviously, I would have loved to have won 4 Patriot League championships. I feel like when I was a freshman, I was like, okay, we can do this every year. But then, yeah, American kind of threw a complete curveball at that. I will say, though, because I was thinking about this question, on the classroom side, I probably would have expanded and been like a little bit more risk taker with the courses I took. Like I knew I liked math, and I was a mathematics major. And I knew I probably wanted to teach, but if I could go back, I think I would expand courses that I took and just took some risks a little bit. And not that I don't love what I do, but I think it may have led me in a different direction career-wise. So if the players are young or the students are young, if you can get in your schedule where you just take different courses just to kind of see really what you like, I think it's a smart thing to do for sure.
All right, great advice. Victoria, if you want to go ahead and ask the question.
Sure. Shannon, what advice do you have on how to network and just finding the right place or right job after Bucknell?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough question, but something that, it's good that you're thinking about and that you spend, I think, a lot of your college thinking about. What's great about Bucknell, and one thing that drew me there and makes me proud to be an alumni, is that the network is very strong and very broad. I'm here in Seattle, people on the call are all around the country. There are people from Bucknell all over, and I find, by and large, they're very willing to talk to current students or recent grads and share their experiences, share their advice. So, use that network, because, we're all happy to lend an ear and to try to do what we can to help you navigate. So if you have a particular area of interest, try to find alumni, especially like athletes, volleyball team members that are in that field, and reach out. I know it can be a little bit scary sometimes to send that email, but I find that people are really receptive and they often say yes, which tends to make it easier to send the next email. And just, ask them for a call, spend an hour asking them questions about what they do and how they got there. I think that can really help you to figure out next steps and maybe even translate into an actual job or internship.
Awesome, thank you. Brandi?
So I think having a Bucknell degree already opens up a ton of doors for you. Like I think that's how I definitely got my interview right out of school. Because when I was graduating, there was like a million people applying for like the same teaching position. So I think, seeing that Bucknell degree helps. So that's like one up already. And, just like what Shannon was saying, there are so many Bucknell alumni in probably a ton of senior positions all over the country, and they are waiting to hear from new graduates, interested in pursuing career in their industry. So definitely don't be afraid to reach out, and obviously keep your team contacts and your sorority or whatever you do in your clubs at Bucknell. Keep those past graduates in mind and reach out to them to help you out for sure.
Awesome, thank you. Chelsea?
I obviously the network is huge, and that's a huge draw to Bucknell. I would also say, to kind of tag on to what Shannon and Brandi said, is just get experience, dabble in different industries. I personally had an internship every summer. I did one in LA, I did one in New York City, got an idea where I wanted to move, and that kind of gave me a good idea where I wanted to move after graduation, to narrow down the location. And then also, I worked at I interned at a fashion PR firm, and then I also interned at an event production company. So, it kind of helped me narrow down exactly what I wanted to do, because my majors were econ and psychology. So, with that, I wasn't sure, and I had some interviews my senior year and was able to land, my current company, and I started a month after graduation. But I did go to all the networking events. I did talk to people, and because I felt like that helped a lot. And, I get emails from Bucknell people currently, and, I feel, and I love that network is still alive, and, I'm happy to help out anyone. Whether, a lot of Kappas too. We've had interns at our company that are just Kappas as well, because that's another networking, avenue for sororities too.
That's great. Thank you. Oh, sorry. I got a phone call. I'm sorry. That was connected. It's connected to my laptop, of course. Jackie?
Yeah, I think, now is obviously an unprecedented time with everything going on. So it's going to be that much harder, but I think you just need to be persistent, reach out, even if there's, not jobs necessarily available. I think one of my mentors from a business side told me that tell everyone that you're looking for a job, because even if they're not in your industry, it could be someone's boyfriend or husband that's sitting at a dinner table, a couple weeks from now, and someone else mentions that they're looking for a job, and you're like, oh, right, I just talked to someone that was looking for a job, and maybe they'll be able to connect you. So that's probably the best advice I've ever gotten, is just, when you're looking for a job, tell everyone you're looking for a job, and to be persistent. Get on those calls with the alumni, reach out, don't be scared to, even if there's not a job available at that moment, just having that connection, having that experience about talking about, your resume and like what you're looking for, will give you a head start when you start interviewing.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so Brandi, tell us, what was your most memorable experience as part of the Bucknell volleyball program?
Can I do two? I have two. Like, I can't pick between them, so I'm just going to tell you two. So the 2000 championship was obviously amazing, and we got to go to the NCAA tournament and walk into Wisconsin's huge arena and play in front of thousands of people, and that I don't think I can ever top that. And the game was very different. I mean, it wasn't even rally scoring my first year, so you had to earn every point. It was crazy, but that, without a doubt, winning the championship for the Patriot League and then going to Wisconsin was just, I'll never forget that. And then the second thing, and I feel like it ranks pretty much right up there with what I just said. My senior year, it goes back to American, we had American as our last home game, and I think it was senior night. My sister and I were the only two seniors left in our class. It just happened to be that way. And I don't know, I'm assuming Jackie and Chelsea remember this. We had this huge gym of I think coach I think she had some type of contest going where the people that came and cheered would win prizes or something, because the gym was packed. And we actually took the first game, and I think we were one of the first teams to take a set from American, and if it was so electric in that gym, and I thought we were going to win. I mean, we won that first set and we were ready to go, and we ended up losing in 4, but even though we lost, I'll never forget that feeling of just taking that first set, and even though we couldn't finish it, it was just to share that with those girls my senior year was special. So
well, I'll have to talk with you after about how she did this prize to get all these fans there. It
was loud.
That sounds great. Yeah.
We'll talk.
When you have that atmosphere, it definitely is an awesome experience.
For sure.
Jackie?
Yeah, I think it was my senior night too. We had the same thing. I think it was against Army though. It was just the gym was packed. But, just from more of a general standpoint, I think, my most memorable experiences are just the times we had in the bus on the road trips and in preseason, those 3-a-days, and, all walking up, the stairs to the cafeteria together, so sore because we've been working so hard during preseason, and just creating those bonds and those friendships with the teammates before everyone else came on campus. I think those were always the best, first week or two of college. And it was just a lot of fun being around the girls and having that bonding time.
So you had 3 practices a day.
Oh yeah, we did 3 days.
What were the timings?
Probably like 9 to 11, and then after lunch maybe 1 to, and then we would have a night session. I believe so. And usually the night sessions were more scrimmages, I think.
Right.
But yeah, we definitely did 3 days. And then we'd go to the freeze afterwards, which was our reward for working really hard.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Shannon?
We also did 3 days, and they were brutal, but also amazing and great experiences. I think for me, and this is similar to what the other ladies have said, my best memory is Rock the House, which I don't know if you still do that, but Rock the House, my sophomore year, we packed Davis Gym. It was so loud, and we were playing Army, and we were down, and we were like about to lose, and then we came back on the brink of loss, won that game, and then ended up winning the match. And it was just like such a great win. We had so much grit and determination to beat them. We had a huge rivalry with them, and then to just win against them on your own turf, in front of all of your friends and tons of other people was just so fun and really memorable experience.
We could still do this Rock the House coming up. All right, awesome.
Bring it back.
Yeah, bring it back. Chelsea?
I mean, I was there with Shannon doing that as well. And honestly, you can't, the competition on the court. I mean, it's being with your teammates, being in the moment, running down from the locker, hitting the sign before we get down there on our way down. I also vividly remember in American's locker room doing a pre-dance party, getting all amped up, listening to Heart of the Champion before we hit the court. But also what Jackie said, it's the moments off the court too were very special. We would go to the depending on where we were playing games, going to, parents would host, dinners as well, doing those type of gatherings and, going on the bus, and just kind of having that camaraderie off the court, I thought was pretty memorable as well.
Chelsea, we'll continue with you. If you can just tell me who was a teammate you admired the most throughout your career and why that was.
I mean, I would probably say, obviously I was fortunate to play with a lot of amazing players and people in general. And when I stepped onto the court, as a freshman, I felt very comfortable, and everyone, I would say if I had to choose one, it would probably be Jackie, just because I had that. She welcomed me with open arms during my recruiting trip, and we were always kind of double partners and complemented each other. She would be the spiker, I would be the digger, and we were the yin to each other's yang. So I felt like we kind of had a special bond, right when I got off the plane in Lewisburg. So.
All right, that's great. Shannon?
This is a really hard question. I played with a lot of amazing people. I mean, Chelsea was a great, role model to me as a freshman. I looked up to her a lot as a great leader and just really fierce competitor for our team. But then in addition to her, we had a group of girls that were the year behind her that were seniors my sophomore year. And, they were just such tremendous leaders as well. And I learned a lot from them. I guess if I had to name one, I guess it would be probably Kristen Sadlowski, who was a great player, incredible work ethic, but also was just a really great person. And, she was a biomedical engineering major, so you knew she was crushing it in the classroom and on the court, and an awesome person and leader and just the most positive person that I've probably still ever met. So I really looked up to her a lot.
Jackie?
I was on mute, sorry. I was fortunate enough to play with both Brandi and Chelsea. I looked up to them both a ton. Brandi was a sophomore when I was a freshman, so she kind of showed me the ropes, but Chelsea made everything, as soon as she came in as a freshman, she made everything look so easy. She was just so good in the back row, and I just looked up to her so much, even though she was younger than me. She pushed me to work harder, and I was just really fortunate to share the court with her.
Brandi?
So this is a really tough question, because everyone you play with, you have a bond on the court, even off the court, even though those players aren't getting as much playing time. And so to say one person is hard. I mean, my cliched answer is obviously my twin sister Brienne. I mean, I've been playing with her since I started volleyball in 3rd grade. So, and I admire her a lot just because we did everything the same, and even down to like getting married and having kids at like the exact same time. So when we walked into Bucknell and I was offered the chance to earn a starting spot pretty early on freshman year, and she kind of had to, I was a hitter, defensive player, and she was a setter. So she had to be a reserve player for a good year and a half, kind of watching someone that played with her her entire career play always, and then she kind of was, went in when she got a chance, and she worked her way. She did not give up, and she supported the team, was such a great leader early on, and she earned her spot and was one of the top setters our junior and senior year. And I look for that type of work ethic and that type of player in anyone that I coach, and I always use her as an example to all of my players now that I'm coaching in high school, that you don't give up no matter what. And I can honestly say that she was an inspiration to me, for sure.
Okay, awesome. Brandi, we'll stay with you for this question. What advice would you give?
Hold up,
okay.
Coach. I'm going to throw you a curveball now. Normally, I would let Coach ask this question and we'd be done. But since Tyler is a brand new head coach here, I thought, Tyler, you could talk about your background.
Okay.
And where you've come from and what your first impressions are of the Bucknell volleyball program with the time that you've been here. And then you can ask your question.
Okay. So I'm from California as well, Chelsea. I'm from Southern California, Orange County. And for a guy, I started playing volleyball at a young age. My older brother played volleyball. And so I got into it. Actually, I started playing club when I was 12. And I was into some other sports, but volleyball is one of those sports that I think I was even talking with a recruit about this earlier today, is like when you start playing volleyball, it's like, I don't know, it takes a hold of you, and it's just such a fun sport. And so I really fell in love with the game, and had a nice juniors career. And then I played at a school east of Los Angeles. It's called California Baptist University. So I played college there. When I graduated, I wasn't necessarily thinking about getting into coaching. And I had a club coach that I played for that was coaching a local high school team that asked me to assist him for whatever reason. And I remember the first season I coached, I was like, I don't know, when you're really young coaching, it's not that fun, because I think you just like, why don't you do it this way? And why, I would have done it that way. And I remember we had this really big game in sectional playoffs. We ended up losing it, but it was such an exciting game. And there's something about being on the sideline when you don't have control necessarily. Like when you're in it and you're playing, you feel like you have some ability to control the outcome. But as a coach, especially as like a lower assistant, I was just like, what is going to happen? What are these kids going to do? And I think I just got addicted. And so started coaching youth and high school and wanting to do it as a career, and started reaching out to some local colleges. And I coached at a school called UC Irvine, which is in Southern California. And from there, made my way to Princeton the last 4 years as an assistant. I think after 4 years, I was excited and ready to be a head coach. So, just really grateful for this opportunity. I think Bucknell has a lot to offer, and it being a high academic institution is really exciting for me. I like the idea of student athletes that really enjoy studying and loving to learn. And so I think that's what really drew me to Bucknell. And I think it's hard to say what my impression is of the Bucknell volleyball program, because I was only with them for 2 weeks before everyone got sent home. And so it's definitely been trying to get to know them through Zooms. And we've had like a couple game nights over the summer, and those were interesting. But, having the kids back on campus, I'm really excited just to get to know them better. And hopefully if things go according to plan, like we can train and get to the level that you guys were at, and, really compete for some league championships.
Segue perfectly into your question.
Okay, then perfectly. Brandi, if you want to start us off with, what advice would you give me as the current head coach of the program?
I mean, well, you've been coaching girls, so I think you already know. I mean, coaching women, young women, there's ups and downs. There's going to be mood swings and hopefully not too many fighting and issues like that. But, certain days you're going to feel like, what do I need to do to get them to see what I want them to do? And they're not listening to it. They're listening. I think it's just certain days are better than others. And I can think back to times when I was playing for coach, and even now me coaching and seeing some of my girls play. Some of the worst days can turn into like the very next day can be your best win or your best season. So don't get discouraged, and know that the girls respect you and they're going to work hard for you. Even if it looks like sometimes it's not going well, your 2-10 preseason can end up with a 10-2 league championship, which is my freshman year. So just keep in mind, coach wanted to pull her hair out. She's like, what did I have to do to get you guys to do better? And we just figured it out. And so I don't know if it's just girls, but just know that they're going to play for you, and don't get discouraged, for sure.
All right, awesome. Thank you for the advice. Jackie?
I would say just, allowing the team the balance. Everyone that plays for you is going to be competitive. Anyone that's coming to Bucknell is going to want to win. And I think it's important to push the team while they're in the gym, but also allow that balance to, spend the time studying, spend the time having a social life. It was one of, my favorite things about, playing for coach is we were great. We made it to the finals, a couple of years while I was there. But we also were able to have that time off the court as well to, enjoy college, because it's going to be the best 4 years of the girls' lives. And I think, just allowing them to have that opportunity to do that, even though, setting the groundwork and setting the rules that, it is important the minute you step on the court to be there and be focused. But just also allow that time for them to have outside the court as well.
As a coach, I'm like, no time outside. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think I do. I really like that about Bucknell. It seems like there's a good balance, and you have the academic side, you have the athletic side, and then there's also obviously a strong social scene. So it seems like you sort of get a great balance at Bucknell.
Yeah, you do, for sure.
Shannon?
Yeah, I mean, obviously win some Patriot League championships. But that is, when I think about my career and where I am today, a lot of the great things are from sports, right? Like sports taught me discipline. It taught me how to be competitive. It taught me how to work really hard for things. And the coaches that I had, enabled me to be where I am today. So, when you think about your role, it's not just about creating a winning program, but it's also about kind of building leaders and building the next generation of amazing women. And so if I had to give some simple advice, I think it's, set really high but clear expectations for your girls, for the team. Be fair, but hold them accountable, and try to make them live up to those expectations. And when they do, set them higher, because that's how you're going to get excellence, and that's how you're going to teach them how to be the best. And hopefully that will yield some Patriot League championships too.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much. Chelsea?
I would probably say just something, taking a day at Bucknell, during practice. Back in the day, I yes, there's all the drills that you can do, based on people's specialties. But I loved just, everyone's competitive, everyone's playing at the collegiate level. So I loved just learning through play, letting us play 2-on-2, 3-on-3, letting us battle each other, but in a fun way where we push each other. So kind of adding that mix in with the actual technical drills. And then, in the weight room, I felt it was strong. We had Jerry Schreck back then, but our trainer, doing exercises and I shouldn't be squatting and benching the same amount as our middle hitter who is, 6'5" and I'm 5'6", and I need more agility work. Just being cautious with being conscious of all of that, and kind of doing different workouts based on people's positions. And I'm probably getting more technical now, but that kind of would be my advice. Because thinking back then, we did work hard in the weight room and on the court, but adding in that play component, I think pushed us extra hard, but made it fun as well.
Yeah, as a back row player, you don't want to do so many bicep curls that you can't straighten your arms while you're passing.
Right. You need the rope so I can go sideways. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, thank you all for the advice. I really appreciate it. I'm really excited to get going. It's obviously been an interesting, almost like a half year already that I've been hired, but it doesn't feel like it. So I really appreciate it, the advice. It means a lot. Thank you very much.
And I'll just take it and wrap it up real quick. I want to thank all of you for making this fit your schedule. And I neglected to, and I apologize in the beginning, talk a little bit about Victoria. She's actually a junior, and she is an outside hitter from Boca Raton, Florida. I should have said that early on. I apologize. But we are happy to have you and your teammates and all the students back on campus now. First and foremost, be safe and be smart. And we are keeping our fingers crossed that you have some form of a season in the spring. We'll see how that goes. And to the alums, thanks again for everything that you do and have done for Bucknell Volleyball. The program is strong because of the people that are in it and that have come through it. And what you all do for the current athletes is great as well. And networking is something that I think Coach and I will have some good conversations about, and something we should really take advantage of. And Chelsea, just so you know, Jerry Schreck is our head strength and conditioning coach, so he is still here.
He's still there.
Doing a great job. He's got his hands full right now. He's got his hands full right now, but he's doing a great job for Bucknell. So thank you again, all of you, for joining us. And for those of you that tuned in at home, thanks for watching, and go Bison.